Welcome to Crystal Uncorked. I'm your host, Crystal Vilkaitis, and I'm all about keeping business real, raw, and refreshingly honest. From the peaks to the valleys, we'll explore my journey and the inspiring stories of remarkable women entrepreneurs just like you. Together, we'll uncover the heart of business, embrace vulnerability, and evolve, celebrating the power and success of women in business. I am thrilled and honored you're here. Cheers! Hello and welcome to Crystal Uncorked. I'm Crystal Vilkaitis and I'm thrilled you're here. Today is going to be another kind of shorter episode, and I'd love your feedback if you like some of these shorter episodes. But what we're going to talk about in today's episode is a big aha that I had over the summer while speaking. I've been speaking a ton and I always get nervous, and there was a specific event I was feeling very nervous for, and I had a great mindset shift that really helped me. It helped me so much. And so I'm going to share it in this episode. But before I do, a couple of housekeeping topics. The first is that as I'm filming this, it's September 15th, and Dustin, my fiance, is in Minneapolis because he is playing in the Catan National Championship game tomorrow. And then the finalists, whoever win tomorrow, go on to Sunday for the final tables and what they're playing for is to go to the World Championship next year. So I have to geek out for a quick second, because if you are friends with me on Instagram or in real life, you know how much I love Catan. I started playing Catan when I was about 12 years old. My Uncle Brandon taught me, and we would go over to my Aunt Kim and Uncle Brandon's house and play. My parents would play, my family would play. And it's a very passionate game. Sometimes you're you're afraid to play when I was younger, at least, because people get very worked up and very angry. And now it's just hilarious. And I'm the one that sometimes gets angry, but it's almost like a Risk meets Monopoly. If you've never played Catan, I highly recommend it. I cannot say enough about this game. Dustin and I love it. So I'm kind of the one that started it in our friend group. And when I met Dustin, I had him play, and I have taught so many of our friends who are now addicts. They play all the time. So I am so proud that Dustin is on his way to this championship game. And this episode is going to air September 27th. So I really hope we are celebrating. But even if he doesn't win, there's 100 people total. If he does not win the nationals, he still is the Wyoming state champ. He got into the nationals by playing a tournament in Wyoming. I opted out of the tournament. I had my ticket. I was supposed to go, but this was 2 weeks before Evolve, and I was feeling so exhausted from planning this conference that I was like, I just can't go. So I like to joke that he won because I wasn't there. But in all honesty, Dustin is very good at Catan. So he has a very strong chance of being the national champion. And if this happens, he's not going to shut up about it, because he has not shut up about being the Wyoming state champ. And that's not even a real thing, the Wyoming state champ, by the way. He just made that up and likes to say it all the time. My grandma bought a fake crown for Dustin, and then also for me, 'cause she said I was the queen of conferences for Evolve and that he was the king of Catan. And I greeted him this morning with his crown to help him be on his way to be the national champion. So stay tuned, follow along on Instagram to get more updates. So that's housekeeping number one. Number two is business related. We just wrapped, as this is airing on September 27th, yesterday and the day before, we just wrapped our holiday marketing workshop. So if you are an independent retailer, we don't have all retailers listening to this show, but if you are an independent retailer and you are not an insider member of ours, you're going to want to get the holiday marketing workshop. There is so much gold on how to really leverage social media and how to market during Q4 to have strong Q4, maybe your best Q4 ever. Our retailers absolutely loved this workshop. We do it every year. They love it. We over deliver, hands down. You get education, but you get some holiday marketing kit too, some done for you resources. So you could go to crystalmediaco.com/insider, and you could become an insider for $97 a month and get access to the replays of the holiday marketing workshop. So this is going to set you up for complete success for Q4. So don't miss out on that. All right. Today's episode, I want to talk about a mindset shift that I had that completely helped me be way less nervous while I speak. So little background for you. I am a speaker. Maybe you've seen me speak in real life, IRL. I have been on over 100 stages. And even though I have spoken 6 different countries and on small stages, big stages to all sorts of people, I still get nervous. And I think that that is a good sign. I think that if I didn't get nervous, it means I don't care. And it's not that I'm not prepared. I am wildly prepared. I spend so much time on my slides and I rehearse and, I've done a lot of these talks. I always customize for my groups, but I've done it so many times. So one would argue like, well, gosh, what makes you nervous? But a lot of things. I mean, I'm human. I care how I sound. I care how I look. I care if the message resonates. I care if people learn something. I care if they learn a lot. Like I always just want to add a lot of value. I want to inspire the audience. I want to motivate them. I want them to walk away being like, oh my gosh, I just learned so much. That was so helpful. Like I hate it so much when you sit in a session, when you're at a conference or if you're watching a Zoom session or training. One of my biggest pet peeves is when the speaker just wastes your time. When they do not deliver value, when they don't deliver their promise of what they're going to teach in that session, when they make it all about them, when it's just a 100% sales pitch. I hate that. I hate when you waste my time. So I never want anybody to ever feel like I'm wasting their time. And I want people to like me. I've talked about this on the show a lot. I care a lot about what people think about me. I'm working on it. I'm human, but I just do. So as I was preparing this summer in June for our social media day that we do before the Retail Success Summit, we do this every year. We've done it for the past 5 years. Our partners at WizBang Training put on a Retail Success Summit. I've spoke there for 11 years. And the past 5 years, we've had our own pop-up event the day before. And this is where it's 8 hours of social media education because there's just so much that's going on with social that we need our whole day. Like I asked Bob and Susan of WizBang Training, hey, can I do an entire day? Because there's only so much I can do in an hour. And they enthusiastically said yes. So we're so grateful for them and the retailers love it. And I was finding myself feeling so nervous for this specific event. Now I've done social media day for the past 4 years. This was my 5th. I've done a couple of them for other businesses as well, and we've done one of our own. And so, why would I be so nervous? I've done this before, but I just was like, I put a lot of pressure on myself, more than normal. A little bit of nerves, natural, good, shows you care, but I felt like I was overdoing it and almost feeling like a sense of dread or this sense, I don't know if dread's the right word, but or this sense of I just can't wait for it to be over. And I was thinking about it a lot, like in my hotel room, flying, I was talking to Pauline about it, just feeling so nervous. And then in the morning when I was getting ready, so 3 hours before I'm to go on and do our social media day, I had this realization that I'm going to show up, I'm going to deliver. I am going to teach. I'm going to be enthusiastic about what I'm teaching. I'm going to help support our audience. I'm going to show up for them over the next 8 hours. I'm going to be on. I'm going to be there for them. That's all I can do. I can't control how they're going to perceive the day. I can't control what they're going to think about me, what they're going to think about my content. I can't control the specific takeaways that they have, what they learned, what they know already, and what they don't know. I can't control any of that. So what I can control is how I deliver the content. And if I'm prepared, which I was wildly prepared, been over the session a ton, and show up and be present and hold the space for my attendees. That's it. And that was an incredibly freeing thought. I was just like, holy shit, I'm free. I don't control any of that. And I'll get nervous stomach. I have IBS. I just recently, I don't know if this is TMI, but we're crystal uncorked and there's a fly, around my head. Hopefully that's done flying near me. But I recently got some tests done and I have IBS and it really inflames. Oh my God, this dumb fly. Inflames right before I speak, but not all the time. So when I am really nervous, like that can really happen for me. It's terrible, you guys. It's terrible. Just a side note, the worst it's ever been was day 2 of Evolve. And if you were in the room, you would have no idea that I was going through this, but I was experiencing such bad stomach pain and had diarrhea moments before I had to go on stage and welcome my audience. This is my event. I paid speakers to come in. I mean, we spent over $100,000 on this event. So the pressure's on. So I put so much pressure on myself and I'm having diarrhea. Sorry that I'm talking about this. I was not planning on talking about this, but I'm just being honest and uncorked. I had diarrhea 15 minutes before I went on that stage. I went back to the room and I'm standing there in Superwoman pose because it's supposed to bring you confidence and relax you. And I'm talking to Steph and Pauline and I'm like, I am struggling. Maddie ran to go buy me Pepto-Bismol. I'm drinking soda water, which I hate doing because it can make you burp when you're on the mic. Oh my God, it was awful. Anyways, I just will finish out the story. I stepped on that stage and everything was fine. It was fine. I was fine the rest of the day. I just really was getting in my head and there was a lot of nerves in that moment, those moments before you get up there. And I was excited and I was nervous and I was so many things. So that was really having a hard time for me. You fast forward 2 months, here we are June. Here I'm really getting in my head about this event. And normally, I was really worried about having such bad stomach pain again right before I speak. I didn't have it at all at social media day. I felt a little bit of nerves more, and I think it was excitement to welcome everybody in. And there's just always this hope that they find value, but I didn't feel this massive amount of pressure. And I just felt really present, which made it a really great experience for me. And I think that made it good for my attendees too. We had great feedback. People loved it. We always get such great feedback for this event. And so, but the biggest thing, it was such a win for me to find that relief. And so I sometimes forget this. I have to remind myself, you can't control what people are going to take away from this. You just can't. Just deliver and that's it. Because I will still get in my head a little bit. And I was doing that at a recent seminar that I was at and I forgot to think about this. And so I wanted to share it on the episode on CU because I'm sure that somebody listening to this has been in a similar situation and maybe you're not feeling nervous or anxious, but maybe it's a different kind of feeling. Maybe there's fear or something that you need to realize you can't control the outcome. So really focus on the things you can control. I really think that as business owners, if we focus on that, the things that I can control, it helps us find clarity on where we need to spend our time, on how we need to ask for help, what we need to stress out about and what we don't need to stress out about. And of course, we can use this in our life too, not just our business, not getting so worked up about the things that we can't control. We have to really focus on those that we can. I actually just filmed today an episode with my mentor, Patricia Norins, for my show Rooted in Retail. Whether you're a retailer or not, you should listen to that episode. It's going to be episode 37. It will be live in October. And we talk about stress management. And we actually kind of talk about one of the tips of, worry, what's real and what's worry, and how we can, get that out on a piece of paper and then really focus on the stuff that's real versus the worry. So I hope that you found this helpful. I want to add on one thing that Donald Miller said 2 weeks ago. I talked about my experience going to his writer's workshop, which was life-changing, epic, better than I could have imagined. Absolutely love Don Miller. He's speaking at my event in April at Evolve. I'm sure I'm going to be so nervous welcoming Don to the stage, but he said when he was talking about writing, but this also applies for speaking, he said that when all else fails, be entertaining. And so if you are a content creator in any way for your social media, for if you're writing a book, for live streaming, for podcasting, whatever it is, if you're not, if the tip isn't landing, you forget the story, whatever, like when all else fails, entertain, because humans love to be entertained. And so at least it doesn't feel like a waste of time. We got some entertainment. We feel good about that. I ultimately would love to do both. I want to educate. I want to entertain. I really want to help support. And so that's always going to be what I strive for. But I did kind of like that piece of feedback when all else fails, entertain. So I hope you found this episode helpful. Next week, I am going to be talking about some behind the scenes of Crystal Media and of this show and on my other show, and just some of the strategic planning that we've been doing and getting really clear on focuses and where we're going, but not just to say like, okay, here's what we do and what's going on in my world, to give you a behind the scene glimpse of me as an entrepreneur and some of the challenges we were having and how we solve some of those and how we're moving forward. I'm really excited about how we're moving forward. So I'll share that. And then next week, I'm going to start doing some wedding updates too. I'm going to include some wedding updates on CU because I've been traveling so much, and a lot of people I see on the road are like, what's going on with the wedding? People want to know. So I'm going to have some updates at the end of some CU episodes too. So you'll catch that on next week's episode. I will see you on the next CU. Bye.